Video podcasts are exploding right now. And the best part, people are growing and monetizing their content even faster than I did when I started. Listen, I just watched a YouTube video about how someone monetized their channel in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And that's because the resources that we have available allows you to grow your podcast, your Instagram, your YouTube so much faster using the exact same strategies. So in this video, I want to break down the exact podcast posting strategy that helped me grow my podcast and monetize my YouTube in under a year. No, seriously. In less than a year, I used this exact step-by-step posting strategy to grow my channel. And it turned my podcast into a revenue-generating machine. And with how things are going this year, if you use this strategy, you'll see results even faster because it takes out all the guesswork. If you're ready to grow your podcast and you want to build real connections and revenue, then let's get into it. We're going to specifically talk about podcasts that are both video podcasts and audio podcasts, because I will say this over and over again. If you're not leveraging both channels, then you are missing out on a lot of money. So the first thing you have to do if you want to leverage this step-by-step process is to record both audio and video on your podcast. This is a foundational step. So whether it's a guest interview or a solo podcast, you want to focus on creating valuable, high-quality content from the get-go. Not only does it have to be high quality, but it needs to speak to your audience's biggest questions or struggles. So you can't forget that when we get into the posting strategy. So as you're implementing this step-by-step process, keep your audience in mind when you're recording. What moments will make them say, dang, I need to really share this, or just save it in their Instagram because you know that, like if they're anything like me, they have a bunch of clips saved anyway. Step 1 is the most important. As long as you record your video podcast and your audio podcast, you're 50% along the way. Your podcast isn't just your content, it's your engine. Every piece of your promo strategy starts here. The second step in the process is to make sure you pull clips from your podcast to promote your episode. If you have a guest interview podcast, most podcasters miss out on the biggest opportunity. Right after recording, you can film 1 or 2 short promo clips using your guests to literally promote the episode. So this looks like them saying, hey, I'm Jonathan and I joined the Work and Play podcast. We talked about X, Y, and Z, and you really want to watch it. Now, what this does is, 1, it gets his audience engaged into this podcast episode without me telling them to do that. And then number 2, it co-signs my audience that I've created such a quality show that they're willing to promote it with me. So it really buys in both our audiences to listen to the episode so that when your episode drops, you have way more eyeballs watching. Now, one feature on YouTube that you're able to use and leverage when you're releasing episodes is the premiere function. So when you release a podcast on YouTube, you actually can push it a little bit higher in engagement than you can on audio channels. And I would absolutely leverage these promo clips to push eyeballs to your podcast within the first 24 hours. So here's what you want to do. Right after recording your podcast, ask your guests to film 1 or 2 short promo clips. The first tip teases the episode. This is optional, but it's really great for hype. The second clip tells your audience to go watch the episode once it's live. Now, why is this important? Again, because when your guests post the episode on their platform, you get free exposure to their entire audience. And the key to making this happen is to do it immediately after you record. Your guest is already warmed up and they're in their zone. So the clips are going to flow, it's going to be natural, and they'll be excited to even do it for you right then and there. Do not leave promoting your podcast to chance. Get your guests involved after recording to tap right into their audience. Now, once you've got the promo clips out of the way, it's time to pull 2 or 3 clips from the episode. Now it's time to find those shareable, scroll-stopping moments in your episode. For video podcasts, these clips are really gold. And for audio podcasts, these clips are absolutely one preview that helps people understand what the podcast is about. So here's what you want to look for. The first thing is you want to get emotionally triggering clips. So think motivating, heartwarming, or even slightly controversial moments. Anything that sparks a conversation, that is going to grab attention. And if you can't find those emotionally triggering moments, that's okay. Think about those thought-provoking moments. Share something that's surprising, ask a big question, or highlight a unique perspective. The guest can say something that is just very, very keen on starting a conversation. So you can use these opportunities to help your audience start having a conversation about your episode. For guest episodes specifically, make sure that at least 2 of your clips feature your guests primarily. People love seeing familiar faces on social media, and you don't want to waste a promotional opportunity on you talking about your show. The best clips are the ones that make people stop scrolling, whether it's because they feel something, learn something, or they just can't look away. But if you're still kind of fuzzy on how to find the right clip in your episode, then I have a special training below just so you can get a step-by-step process on how to find good clips when you're editing your podcast. Now, here is the bulk of the process. Step 4, we're getting into the weekly posting strategy. Here's the exact posting schedule that I use to grow my podcast. Now, you can choose to release your episode on whatever day you like, based on your audience. But for my podcast, we released every Monday, so everything that I'm going to say is based on us launching a new episode every Monday. So the Friday or Saturday before the episode launched, we would send our guests the folder of our clips. So we would have clips, behind-the-scene photos, and promo materials, along with the release date that we're actually going to release the podcast. On that Sunday, we would post a pre-promo clip of the podcast episode to build anticipation. So what this looks like is, hey, I just did an episode on the Work and Play podcast. When it drops, y'all need to stay locked in. You can go to YouTube and hit the wait button. And this is basically before your episode launches. This is just to build that anticipation. Now, on the Monday you drop your episode, you drop the first clip of that podcast episode with the watch now call to action. Now, this is driving listeners specifically to your podcast on the day that it drops. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity. You will notice that most of your views will come like smack dab in that 24-hour period, and you don't want to miss out on that. I should also mention that the format I used to create my promo clips was a mixture of the two. So even though I have my guests saying, hey, watch the podcast when it drops, or hey, the episode just dropped, go watch it right now, I would also embed a part of the conversation in with those promo clips so that it gives you a preview. It kind of teases the episode. So I would get you hooked by watching a bit of the episode, and then I would hit you at the end with a word from the guest so that they can get you to go watch the full episode right now. Now, after the Monday, you drop that first clip of the episode with the watch now call to action. Tuesday, you want to announce that you're going to go live with the guest or by yourself to talk about the episode. Now, people can sign up for notifications when you go live. This is also another opportunity for you to capitalize on eyeballs. So they can now go watch the episode before you go live so you can have an in-depth conversation about what they liked and didn't like about that particular episode. On Wednesday, you can post the second or third clip from the episode, and this can be any clip from the episode. It doesn't have to be a promo clip, but just any soundbite that you feel really triggers a conversation on social media. In addition to clips, you can also use photos, or you can create flyers as another form to promote your podcast. So if you're going live on that Friday, let's say, you could use Thursday to either post a behind-the-scenes photo of you guys having a conversation in person. You could also create a flyer that says, I'm going live with this individual on Friday on X, Y, and Z date. Lock in your schedule. So think about it like this. There's content versus context. And I'm not going to go into a full social media training right now, but there's a difference between content versus context. Let's just say on Thursday, this is a good time to drive attention to your live conversation. So if the goal is to get people to save the date or to remind themselves that they're going to watch you go live, then the content can be anything. It can be a photo, it can be behind the scenes, it can also be a flyer. But the point is, we want to drive people to schedule to put it in their notification, or just show up to the live when you actually go live with your guest, or just go live with the audience to talk about the podcast. Now you're posting clips, you're posting flyers, behind the scenes, whatever you choose. On this Friday, you can now go live on all platforms. There are lots of streaming tools that allow you to go live on everything: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all at one time. A free tool that I'm going to give you right now is OBS. So if you want to get OBS, you can literally go live everywhere for free, and you don't have to pay any monthly subscription. So when you go live, you can now break down the episode, things that you were thinking behind the conversation, points that you would have made now that you're watching the episode back. You can share behind the scenes content, and you can even have your guests come answer questions about things that the audience thought were pretty interesting about the episode. Now, if you want to go above and beyond, a bonus tip is to take the clips from that live session and sprinkle them into your social media the following week. That gives you 2 full weeks to promote one single episode, and you literally just had 2 conversations. This strategy keeps your podcast top of mind for your audience all week long. And if your guest shares their clips, that's free exposure to an entirely new audience. So there you have it. Short and sweet, but to the point. And I really hope you take this information and implement it. This is the exact strategy that I use to grow my channel. With the tools and opportunities available today, I know you're going to see results even faster if you follow it to the T. And to make it even easier, I created a free podcast promotion social media content calendar that is going to help you take all the guesswork out of posting. When you want to post, what to post, the ideas you want to post. If you keep up with this cadence, you don't have to worry about social media promotion or just engaging in the wrong times. So click the link below, grab your free content calendar, and I promise you will thank me later. So tell me in the comments how you use social media to promote your podcast. Are there things that I missed in my strategy that you actually do that works for you? Or if there are some things that from this strategy that you're going to pull from and implement this week, I'd love to know that. I'm here to have a back and forth conversation with you. I do not have all the right answers, but I will tell you this worked for me, and I know 100% it will work for you if you just take the moment to implement. I cannot wait to hear about your success. I want you to drop a comment below. Let me know how it does work for you, and I'll see you in the next video.